Hi, everybody. Happy Tuesday. I am here with Jessica Summers, and she has written a very powerful book. And I'm so excited to bring her to this platform to share a little bit about her book so that you guys can be inspired and go out and purchase her book and support her journey and her willingness to share her story. So, Jessica's book is called The Road to Now, and she has shared with me that this is really about her journey, but in essence, to help other people with their journeys. So, Jessica, why don't you tell them what really just spoke to you that made you say, I have to write this book?
Well, I mean, a couple of things. I knew through, as I was going through my experience, and that's what I share in the book, I I just saw so many other people that actually didn't make it, and had the same age children as I do. There was just so many like similarities, right? And
Mhm.
so here I am on the other side of things, and I know what it's like to not have a voice, and then
Mhm.
all of a sudden you do kind of, but you're stuck in that fear. um, and that's another thing that people stay stuck in. So that was another reason why I felt that push, that
Mhm.
I needed to share that, right? And like I was explaining to you earlier, the situation that I had found myself in, you know, as human beings, we are so quick to judge and assume and take behavior real quick to label. And oh, I've seen this before. I know how to, I process what I see and that's it. Instead of, digging a little bit and asking questions.
Mhm.
Anyway, I had been misdiagnosed, been given so many labels. So there was years that
Mhm.
I didn't matter. I didn't have a voice.
Wow.
And what helped me is researching and finding other people's books.
So now you
So
get to be part of that process for people, right? Be that voice that they don't know that they don't have, and feel like they're not alone. I think that is a big part of it is understanding you're not alone and you're not, the crazy one. You just need to find your path and heal and come to terms with where you're at. So without giving too much away, and you've already kind of hinted to it or whatever, but just to let people know, for people that are going through an experience right now, what is truly you talked about what you were experiencing at the time. What was your life experience that led you to this journey?
um, well, uh, there's so much in that, because the more every step that I've taken has kind of pulled back a layer, and in that has shown me and presented my next step. And in that, I learned more about myself. So things that I was like completely terrified of, I
Mhm.
understand and realize that that's learned, right?
Right.
So it kept me going, and I got rid of that and stepped forward. And the more I step forward, the more I get to release and go further. And you know what? I don't even think I'm answering the question. I'm going off on one of my tangents. What was the question?
So, some of us, and really you could use this road to now across different themes. It wouldn't matter if it's that you're struggling with mental health, or you're struggling with, an abusive relationship, or you're struggling with refining yourself after some type of trauma. You really could use it in any of those, modalities, and it be part of that. But I mean, for you, because you're being honest and truthful, and you've been so vulnerable and peeling the parts of this book apart, if you could just, I do you want people to know what it was that you were battling?
Well, I mean, originally it was complications with my pregnancy. That was the beginning of my journey into. Well, I've been pregnant before. How come things aren't working out the way that they did last time? And you start questioning yourself, your physical ails get worse, turn into mental. And I mean, it's all retrospect, right? I didn't see it
Yeah.
at the time that I didn't have the tools that I needed,
Yeah.
like a lot of us, right?
Yeah.
What happens when life goes bam, bam, bam and hits
Mhm.
you a couple of times and you're not sure what was what is the start of it and where's the end of it? And
Mhm.
when you find yourself in it,
Yeah.
and so it just like I said, it just
Yeah.
was one thing after another.
Right. And it is, as women, I think we do question ourselves even more because it's just all supposed to go the way we think, right? Like, especially when here you've had a child and you're pregnant with another child and things aren't going right. And like, did I do something wrong? You start playing that blame game. Is it me? Is it something I didn't do right? And here you're trying to also be a mother to another human, right? And a
Right.
wife and do all these things. And so it just becomes like overwhelming. And I think a lot of times we don't give ourselves credit for as much as we're already managing and doing. We're wearing so many hats
Yep.
um, that we lose ourselves and we lose giving us even ourselves the space to have not okay moments, and say, I'm not okay, because we're too busy putting on the facade.
And you said it. You said it all right there because I didn't even realize at the time that my what I knew, right, was the very thing that kept me pushing into thinking the more I push, I will push myself through this. And
Yeah.
that is the exact opposite. You don't take on more,
Yeah.
you assess the situation and go, okay, what kind of help do I need now? But I didn't, to be quite honest, in my situation, I didn't even know how to ask for help anymore because the help that I was asking for wasn't, it, in one scenario was my doctor's giving me more medication on top of
Mhm.
more medication, which wasn't helping, of course. And
Right.
the other was I started to internalize it even more because of the fact of outside reactions to me asking for help. You have it all.
Mhm.
You look fine. You have it all. What are you complaining about? And that's
Yeah.
how it's perceived a lot of times. If you aren't,
Mhm.
bleeding from the eyeballs, and
Oh, yeah.
I kind of joke, but not so much either, right?
Yeah.
Because we really are, like I said before too, we are so quick to judge
Mhm.
um, in a negative,
Mhm.
whether it's judging the person and their behavior in a negative, we judge them as in the sense that if you don't look a certain way, then you
Mhm.
shouldn't be complaining because you have the money, you have the resources, you have everything. Fix you.
Mhm.
Well, what if you do all of those things,
Mhm.
right? So that also leads me to where I have expanded this journey because this
Mhm.
in unlearning a lot of things that I've learned because that kept me stuck. But that also helped me peel back some more layers in recognizing and understanding that it is very real um, about our childhoods, our so-called normal childhoods, um,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
I had one of those normal childhoods, yeah.
Yeah, right. Because and this is the thing too is that we focus on the big, the bad, the ugly, the
Yep.
obvious things,
Yeah.
but we don't talk about the accumulation of things, whether aware, unaware, just
Mhm.
growing up on this planet. What is that information we're receiving,
Yeah.
right? And
Mhm.
until
Yeah, I
you
love that you talk about unlearning because it is hard to not only take the steps of saying, "Okay, I'm not okay," and admitting to yourself that you need to address whatever it is, whether it be your mental health or your physical health, your state of mind, your mindset, whatever it is, saying, okay, this needs to be addressed. And that's a huge step because some people aren't even willing to take that step of admitting that they don't know what they don't know, right? And
Yeah.
then you take that step and then you're like, okay, but what do I do about it? Right? Because to me, this was what I was supposed to do, or this is the norm, or this is what's expected of me. So now that I'm saying no, this isn't right. I have to change something. What do I change and how do I change it? And so then you start looking for, like you were, for answers and trying to find those things. So I love that you've got kind of, you're trying to build a roadmap, the road to now, right? So wherever you're coming from, the minute you have that epiphany of, okay, but this isn't normal, even though I think this is the norm, it's not. And I have to make a change. What do I do now? And then how do I go about that change? Because unlearning can be very difficult, because innately it's much easier, even more in the unlearning process, to revert back the other way because that feels normal and comfortable, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah. You
unlearning can be very uncomfortable.
I mean, you said it. We automatically, even in our uncomfortableness, we've gotten so comfortable that it's we can see the light at the end of the tunnel
Hmm.
and it looks good and it's glowing and shining. But
Hmm.
every time we step out of our uncomfortable, comfortable,
Hmm.
right, we'll take one step forward and then 10 back. But the more we keep going forward, the less we go back and the more we can start to step forward until it becomes our norm.
Hmm.
It's eventually everything that we thought we knew, we can turn it on its head. And
Right.
the thing is, you have to understand that you, the person, and everything that you know is going to fight it every
Mhm.
step of the way until you start making some progress. Like, you won't even believe yourself.
Right. The progress is insane. And then giving the progress weight. Like, okay, I only took two little steps, but wow, look at the change in those two little steps. And what are four steps going to look like? And what are eight steps going to look like? And what is it going to look like when I actually get to that point? And then using that as kind of like the carrot in front of you to keep you moving forward.
Yeah.
What's funny is in my, I say my other life, I feel like you, and you may feel like this too. I've had, different careers and then motherhood and not motherhood. And so it's like in one of my other lives, um, I've lived in this lifetime. I was in counseling, and one of my co-counselors, she was from another country, and so sometimes her conversion to English didn't always line up. And she
Right.
would say, "You can see the light, but you're choosing not to listen to it." And I'm like, "You mean follow it? Like we're not listening to the light." I didn't really at the time understand the beauty in what she was saying,
Right.
is because
Right.
really that light was different and you probably were supposed to listen to it and not follow it.
Right. Because when I
Mm.
hear you say that, I think of intuition,
Yeah.
right? That was our intuition we should be listening to.
Mhm.
What do you
Yeah.
think about that?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like I was doing literal, like, "Are you translating this wrong?" Like,
Right, right.
I think
A-
you might be confusing them right now. But she's like,
And isn't that a perfect sign again, like how we, uh, and this is what I say now too, like, I was the poster child for the most hard-headed person on the planet. Like, everything was literal. I know what I know. Nobody can tell me any different. And that's exactly what gets us, like, our when we're being so human
yeah.
and stuck in our egos, right?
Mhm.
Because we've learned that. And the sad but eye-opening at the same time, for me anyway, was I didn't realize that, like me, myself, the messages that I heard growing up was, you're not enough. Like, I had no self love, no self worth, no, so everything
Mhm.
was wrapped up in like being married and having children. So,
Right, that was gonna answer everything.
right. And so what happens when that starts slipping? Oh my gosh. I'm going to do anything and everything, no matter how absolutely outlandish it is, and
Mhm.
almost kill myself in order to do it. Like, how twisted is that? You know? And it's like, is that what needed to happen for me to wake up to go, smack, 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 smack? What
Mhm.
are you doing to yourself? Like, do you see that the very thing that you're being called out on is what you were doing to hold on to what is killing you in the first place, right? It's like, how do you even, but I had to, like I said, it's like those things had to happen for me to wake up to go, oh, I didn't know that I felt um like I just didn't even care about myself. I had no like
Yeah.
self-respect, no anything. But ouch, that hurt, but I did the work now and, thank God,
Right.
you know,
And you're stronger for it now, you know? Inevitably, when we are stronger, what we don't realize is that, especially women do this all the time. I'm guilty of this a lot of times too, is that we put our needs second or third or fourth because, the household needs this, the children need this, the husband need this. And while we're neglecting our physical, mental, and stable selves, the rest is really already falling apart. We just don't realize it. And so until we are stronger, until we understand that self-worth, until we are in that really stable, healthy side, we're not servicing them properly either, right? We're just a hot mess running around in circles. And they're just like, wow, okay. We're along for the ride, right? They've got nothing they can do about it. Um, but it's now looking back, you realize, how much healthier of a person and better of, a parent, a grandparent, a figure there just to be in their lives that you are now, and what you can provide them now and the knowledge you can give them.
oh, it's night and day. The I mean, once you own your shit, I mean, excuse me, like you own like all your good, your bad, your ugly, you just stand up like I'm a human being just like everybody else.
Right?
I'm going to find out what I'm really good at. The
Right.
rest of it, I'm not going to try so hard because somebody else is really good at that. So allow, right? Let's all start allowing
Right.
each other to do these things, right? Because that's another thing too. It's like somewhere in my mind, I picked up along the line, like I had to know it all. I had to be good at everything,
Mhm.
or right, I'd be married with children, know everything, be able to like, do cartwheels and drive a car at the same time. You know what I mean? I mean, just totally ridiculous. I mean, once you start unfolding that story you have in your head, it's like, how was I even supposed to keep up with that?
Yeah.
But once you get here and you,
Mhm.
it's like, oh, okay, I don't have to do all that. I just have to be me. Is that what you're telling me? And
Yeah.
that's okay. Oh, right.
Yes. Mhm.
I didn't know that I didn't know
Mhm.
that I didn't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But now you know, and now you have this amazing book for the road to now for people when they're in that struggling point. They can feel not alone. They can feel like, I can keep moving forward. This is how I can move forward. This is someone that's done it. And, thank you for giving back because you said in those moments you really needed those books that you turned to give you knowledge. And now you're turning around and paying it forward and giving it back and giving this beautiful book to people to help find their selves, find their road to success, their road to now, to a better place, right? Physically, mentally, emotionally. And thank you for being willing to do that. So, if you are like a lot of us, especially a lot of us women, but it's not only women, uh,
Right.
we are all just human, like Jessica said. We all have our faults and we all have our strengths. So, if you're on a journey to find what your strengths are and to feed yourself instead of starve yourself, emotionally, physically, mentally, This is a great book and an opportunity to know you're not alone and to have a friend along the journey through this book. So please go check it out. The Road to Now available on Amazon and other retailers. And thank you, Jessica, for taking time to be vulnerable and truthful and authentic and share with us today. You can get more information on how to get this book from the attachments. And then in the comments, I will attach a link for you just to literally click and go on and read and purchase. And I wish you all the best. I hope to talk to you again soon. It's always nice to see you. Thank you. And everybody have an amazing rest of your week.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jessica. Bye.
Bye.